And all right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Orchard Core Pair Programming by Lombiq. This time, again, our guest is Sig, or Ermir. And with Ermir, we'll continue where we left off last week with some theme development. So I would also like to hand it over to Ermir to introduce what exactly we'll see today, and then we can start writing some code.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Sultan, again. In the last stream, we had at least a couple of points that was pointed out by other Orchard Core members like Antoine and Hisham about the one main thing was the auto setup, so you don't have to go through the setup screen if you are working in a development. And second, like when you are converting, for example, a HTML template into a Orchard Core theme / template, that it's like one way of working, like Antoine pointed, like you can have all the files in the root directory, and then you can check like how it's looking and all of that. So another thing was what was mentioned was the placement.json, which I think we will cover a little bit. And yes, so with that being said, I think let's have a look what we have for today.
All right. Will we start with auto setup then?
Yes. So yeah. Okay. Perfect. So let's do the auto setup, and essentially what the auto setup is. Like you have to include the setup that you want for this project, and that has to be under Orchard Core in app-settings.json and defined with the Orchard Core auto setup. And there you have the auto setup path and for the tenant and the shell name. There is in the documentation. I really did not go much into it, but important is the site name. The site time zone for me is Atlantic Reykjavik, but depends on your time zone. The super user, admin username, admin email, and the password, which are three important together with a database provider. In this case, we're going to use SQLite, but if you would have a Postgres or SQL Server or MySQL, that Orchard Core comes with the drivers ready, then you would have to include the connection string and the table prefix. I prepared a very quick recipe and I gave the name Hoteler, which makes it some content types. And if you have it, then you will also have to include this. The second thing that we have to do after that is that you will have to include this feature in builder.services on program.js, CS, sorry, and include the name of the package or module. This is just a comment which comes when you install, when you create a new project, but it doesn't matter, so we can remove it for this. And if we run, so I have it here. I hope you see my shell. And if we just do .NET run without any other parameters, it should be able to create. And we don't have to go through the screen that we did last time.
Yeah, we just need to run it.
Yes. So yes, it it run without any errors. I'm so sorry because that was a previous error that I was trying to debug, which we are gonna probably do it live, which is never a good idea, but for the sake of learning, we will have to show how we fail when developing. And
Yeah, we'll see that in a bit. It's great that you also created a custom recipe. So just to clarify for the viewers here, you could also use one of the built-in recipes. So you could run auto setup with a blog recipe or something like that. But Emir here has a custom recipe that I also have a follow-up question to once we are there, because Hisham asked something in the chat. But before that, we need to actually make it work and reverse some debug code that you had there.
yes, that's correct. Because I was trying to, we'll show it in a bit. I was trying to make assign some image URL to some slide that I had. So let's refresh. And there we go. So
Very nice.
yeah, so we have the site name, and we have custom styling. We don't have anymore. I will just show it in a bit. And this is entire footer that is included in the as a layer, which it means that is always there. Now, I hope you see my code. How does it look in the stream?
I think it looks right.
Okay, perfect. So
before we go further in the layout code, by the way, I see that you progressed a lot since our last stream.
Yes, that's correct. We will. Okay, so last time we went a lot on like a very like low level, if we can call it, into like including and like basically creating our CSS file and all of that. For this stream, I downloaded a template and unzipped the files, and like Antoine proposed, which is and then include them in the root directory. So if we take a look at this, we're gonna launch it in debug mode in the VS Code just to see it. This is essentially the template, how it looks. And because we are streaming with a very low resolution, yeah, now it's okay. So hopefully this is the end goal, and I doubt we're gonna finish it in during this stream because there is a lot going on. And this is SVG, which I haven't figured out yet how to include in Orchard Core, to be honest. But otherwise, yes, should not be a problem. So we have this, which is like a carousel, and it has basically this text and another text that will come, which is optional. This, for example, like this one has it. So we have this main text and another secondary text, which is optional. So in I will quit this one because this is like the end product that we're trying to aim to do.
Could you, when showing the code, could you please zoom in a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And also, so you created a custom recipe. Could we take a little bit of look at that?
Yes.
Because that looks interesting. How did you create this, by the way? Did you take an existing recipe from Orchard Core? Did you export it? Did you write it by hand?
Initially, when in my very like maybe like a year ago, since I'm working with Orchard Core, I started with the given recipes. I think it was the blog recipe, like the foundation of it. But then as I was developing this template, I then exported. Actually, yes, I exported. I created a workflow and like the known process of doing it. And then after that, I added some content, removed some content directly in JSON. But it's not like a very smooth project. I mean, it's not a smooth process. It's just you create and then you forgot a slash or something like that. You run and then you have to delete the app data and then you rerun it again until you get the desired outcome. So, and this is pretty much like it explains and author is the word because the word is like a as superset of us. It's a simple name and a display name and some description. And here are some variables that will come into play later because for example, like we will have some tags and some categories. For example, like if you have rooms and then you want to tag them and then you want to filter out rooms with a given tag or like something like that. So I will close the.
Oh yeah, you enable a bunch of features.
Enabled a bunch of features.
I guess you had some content, some configuration for
some. Yes, so here are some. Yes, and also some roles that are pretty much. I think I haven't touched it from the blog theme. As you can see, like you have a moderator and editor. But I thought that's very relevant for what I was doing. So I said, okay, perfect. Let's keep it as it is. And then we have two zones, basically the content and the footer. The footer will always remain. And the content as well, which is it's when we work with widgets. And here are some definition with a hotel, which is the main one.
And sorry for those layer zones. You also created the zones in the layout liquid file, right?
Yes, they are. There will come.
Could you take a look at that? Because that's a bit probably a harder concept to grasp when you first know about this. That okay, I define the zones from the admin or from a recipe, but where are they actually? So could you just show the corresponding layout file? I mean,
the layout file.
yeah. So
yeah.
Define them.
You mean yeah. Well, it's not yet. It's not yet here.
Oh, okay.
I was yeah. It's the theme yes, the theme that I've been developing. It's not this one, and I mean it's a different one from the one that is. It's not yet in production, but it's very close to production. But the one, yes, so it's not yet here basically, and I just didn't remove it. So I said, oh, let's.
Okay.
I didn't expect to go over it, to be honest. Like
we don't really have to just to give us an idea. So you have some content types here.
Yeah, so we have some content types. We have a hotel, which is like, and then it's creatable, draftable, secureable, whatever, all of that. And another one, we have a container, which is a widget. And we have image, which is also a widget, which will come into play later. Paragraphs, raw HTML, and we have pages, which we will need for navigating around. And tags, as I said, we have for tagging and categorizing for taxonomies. And yes, parts.
Do you have content items here as well?
Yes, we have also content items. We have, for example, the main menu, which has 3 menu items from this. It says home, accommodation, and about, a very simple one.
By the way, that JavaScript functions, that's probably not everybody's clear on that. So yeah, the here it's generating a content item ID, just so you can import this anytime on any website. And I've seen that you also created some variables up top.
Yes.
Any reason for that? Are there related content items that you wanted to connect, or what's the reason for it?
Yeah. So basically, it was when, for example, when I think I removed it. Yes. Well, in this case, for example, when we create a content item and then you want to add some tags, for example, then you have already the UID, so it doesn't generate the new one for each. And so you want to basically link that one. I think I have it here. If not, I must have had removed it. Yes, for example, here we have the variable which comes when we are linking, for example, with a menu, we are linking the menu content ID, referencing it essentially. And
yeah, that's important there.
Yeah, so this one, and for example, like also here, we are giving the parameters of admin username, and here we are, for example, like telling that it's a taxonomy, and like I was saying, that we are giving linking the tag of the content ID when we are creating the content type of taxonomy.
Yeah, so when you want to newly generate that content item ID, but you also want to reuse it in multiple places because you want to connect content item.
Yes, exactly.
There was a while ago a question in the chat by Hisham. So this recipe is completely custom, or at least you don't execute recipes built into Orchard Core, right?
Can you repeat her again? It's custom.
So yeah, this recipe is completely custom, and you're running any of the built-in recipes, right?
For this case, no. For this case, no. But for like, I would definitely like begin with like, I mean, especially if you're a new beginner, then you will have to start with the given recipes that are provided by Core.
And there's a better option than copy paste, and that's the recipe step. Do you know about that? That you can execute a recipe, another recipe from your recipe?
No, that sounds a little bit like complicated. No, I don't know. So, yes.
It's not that complicated. I will paste it into the stream chat as well. I don't think you can create that from an export, I think. But anyway, some food for thought for the next time, because one of the questions in the chat was, how can you use your custom recipe, your custom theme, if you use a built-in recipe? And pretty much, I think the solution there is that you still create your own recipe for auto setup, but in that custom recipe, there's very little. Mostly you just execute one of the built-in recipes, like the blog or the agency recipe. And pretty much the only further thing you add there is what you also have in that recipe is the theme configuration, where you set your theme as the site theme. And so you also have to enable the feature before as well work. But that way you can use a built-in recipe, but with your own theme with auto setup.
That sounds interesting.
And by the way, also reflecting on a remark, so here we are using a recipe as a jump start for a site. Have you used recipes before with applications that are already running?
Not really. For it is a decoupled because I had a backend written in .NET. So basically it's a decoupled application. At the front end, it was a React basically app, and the backend was written in .NET, but I just replaced it with a Orchard core, which took care of many things that much easier done with Orchard core than writing the entire backend, reinventing the wheel every time.
Yeah.
So yes, well, I didn't need it types and all of that, so I created a very manually basically. But then I exported this recipe, and then I can copy some chunks of it, and paste it, and yeah, repeating the process of going over it.
So you export content from the live site so you can work with it locally, right?
Yeah, I think it's a primitive way, but as long as it works.
I think it's a good way. So you either do that or you export the snapshot of the production database, which has a lot of issues to do it right. So having a development recipe, I think, is better.
Yeah. Actually, I opened a discussion, I think, once about, or maybe I think I commented YouTube or Lombiq about how would you for example, duplicate the entire and working with it, basically locally. But yes, I think you commented that the snapshot it can be very tricky to work with database snapshot, so I didn't even try.
Yeah. And by the way, you can use that recipe step also to export multiple recipes. If you have a bunch of content, you don't have to have one 10,000 line file. You can export into multiple files and compose them.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, I have seen it, I think, in the source code. I have seen that it is like multiple chunks of a recipe, and then they are yes. So when you run, it's basically. But moving on, we as I said in a resource, I have a lot more resources, scripts, and all style as well. I did a little bit of define somewhere the root is, where the CSS folder, where the JavaScript folder is, and the vendor. and then use that basically. So when you little bit of refactoring, and then on the layout, I included that as this. And then if we scroll down the bottom, we including also the script, basically with a script tag and giving the name, which have to match with the given name that the name that you defined. For example, Bootstrap. That one has to match with this basically Bootstrap. And so to replicate, I think we have it. No, we don't have it because this for probably this thing is. So to replicate that the carousel, I went and created a content, two content types basically. One is no, I haven't. Oh, sorry, this is a new. So we'll have to do that. So let's say carousel.
And by the way, what carousel would you like to recreate? Can you show it in the original template?
Yes. Sorry. Let me start this again. As you can see, so yes, there is this carousel here in the front page. It's not behaving very nicely because as you see, there is one, but still it thinks that it is in a response. Oh, I can probably give some
yeah.
something like this. So okay, so now it looks more like it is. So oh, okay, perfect. This is I'm exploring the debug Edge DevTools live. So yeah, so you see there is this carousel in the front page where you this has three items, and it's not shuffling, but like sliding the items. So I think this is cool, even though maybe some years later in terms of design language of the modern websites, but still I think it's interesting, and because we are working with this template, we are trying to replicate this design. So we'll have to create a content type called carousel, and we're gonna give a title, an alias, and a bag of complicated items. We still don't have the complicated items that we're gonna give here, so we will have to also create that one. And that is a slide because each carousel has a list of slides inside. So let's say create a slide as well. And the slide will only have a title, and we're gonna give image fields. So let's say image, and that is also of type of media field. So I think that's all right. And if we go back again to carousel, we just say that the bag will be of type slide. And now we can go.
By the way, why aren't you using the flow part?
The what?
Why aren't you using the flow part?
The flow.
Yes. I think this may be a question that people ask themselves, because we have a lot of options in Orchard Core to relate content items, and flow part and back part are quite related.
I'm sorry, because my dock is not recognizing my other two screens. I don't know exactly like what's going on.
Okay, no worries. Then
I don't know what's
while you are trying to fix that, let me just answer a question. I think the back part is very suitable for that, so that's it wasn't meant as a correction. The back part back part is just a store of content items. It's called bag, like the bag type in .NET, but while the bag container .NET is unordered, the back part in Orchard Core is actually ordered. So it's just an embedded list of content items, and you don't need anything else. Whereas with flow part, for a slider, for a carousel, whereas with flow part, you can also add formatting and put the whole thing into a layout. You don't really need that, but I did see use cases where we have a carousel where the carousel items have flow part. So you have little layouts within the carousel.
Yes, so I'm back with sorry for this hardware issue. And thank you for the explanation, Dr. Sultan. So now we have, and we can create a carousel. So let's call this, I don't know, main carousel. And we're going to give also alias. If we don't provide, it will automatically generate, well, as it also says here, leave empty, but we want to have things in control. So we just do give what we want. So let's say this is the first image. I'm very creative with the names. So, and we have 3 images inside. So I'm just going to give this slider one first. And the second one, you can guess the name. And also this. And now we can see that we have the carousel, which has these 2 items, just like we defined with that. So if we go back, and yes, you see we have 2 items, except that it's not changing anything, but we have 2 items. And so as you said in the beginning, I sneaked a lot of code, a lot more code than the last time. So, but I'm gonna go a little bit over and say what is happening here. As you can see, the entire.
Did you take most of this from the template, by the way?
Exactly. Most of the code is by template. We only have to change the things that has to be dynamic. And for the things that don't have to be dynamic, then you can just leave it as it is. I think we went over the head, so let's collapse that to spare a little bit of room. And so we go. This is again. This is for responsive mode. So we're gonna leave that as it is. And here we have a small loader while it's loading the assets. It's gonna display you this the user, the loading, and And when it loads, then it can, again, if it's in a mobile. And by the way, this is all the code and the classes is on the template. So I'm just referencing this basically the code that is provided here.
And this template is not built on any well-used client-side framework, right? So it seems to me that it's all written from scratch, the CSS.
Yes, and exactly. It's all written in Scratch, and so there is actually Bootstrap, also some Bootstrap on it. It's also we saw it here because we are referencing some Bootstrap. No, it's some Bootstrap happening here, and also jQuery. You can get the jQuery from the Orchard Core scripts, but because this is an older version of jQuery, I just called it as 3.3.1 because it's 3.3.1 version, and you can use it like that. But I think if you do this, then it's gonna include the jQuery coming from Orchard. So yes, and yeah, so this is the icons. If we go back, we have these 3 icons. But these, remember in the recipe, we said that we're going to have 3 content items of type menu item. So you go back and check in the main menu, we have 3. We have home, accommodation, and about. Last time, again, I sneak code from the blog recipe. In this case, we have completely, it's basically, it's items. This is code from the template that we got for this with, yes, from the HTML template. And that one, as you can see here, this is the shape menu, which again, I asked about it. I asked in the discussion, can somebody go and explain for me shape? And the short answer was, yeah, well, it's complicated. So if you can elaborate a little bit more, that would be very helpful for me, and hopefully for somebody else also watching the video now or maybe in the future.
Let's try it. By the way, I think there's also a menu shape. Sorry, a menu tag helper, which also displays the menu shape, but probably does a bit more. Anyway, it just occurred to me that probably while this may work, there can be a better option to display a menu from Liquid. But anyway, so shapes are basically dynamic view models that are automatically bound to a piece of HTML somewhere, a template coming from somewhere, and that somewhere is based on naming rules. So this is a step over the standard view model view templates approach from ASP.NET Core. Now, this has been a concept for more than a decade in Orchard, so I wasn't there when it was originally created, but I think that the reason for this is that while in a standard ASP.NET Core application, there's a very straightforward relationship between where you display a template and where you put that template. So it's basically the same project, and your project covers the whole thing. While as in Orchard Core, due to its modularization and its theming, these two can be distinct places. So in your module, you can display a shape, and you may have a template in that module for that shape as well, a shape template. But there can be a module that depends on the first module and that overrides the shape, or there can be a theme that overrides that shape. So it's a lot more malleable.
So what would be the naming convention for overriding a shape or defining a shape?
Now that is complicated, but we have a documentation page about that. I will also paste it into the chat. And furthermore, in Orchard One we had a tool called shape tracing. In Orchard Core we don't have that, but we have something similar. I will also paste that into the chat, which basically tells you about the piece of the markup, the piece of the layout, where that's coming from, and how you can override it. So what kind of names you can use. Like you have that menu there. How can I override how that menu looks like? And it will tell you the file names pretty much.
Oh, that's very neat feature if we can say. Okay, so and this has some interesting because we are using a little bit of caching, and we are caching it for like 5 minutes, which is this is very nice features that Orchard Core comes with. And if we see basically what we are doing in this section of code is running and checking this loop and checking if we have items when we are just gonna render these shapes, which is very nice. And then we get these 3 beautiful items here. So before I was the streaming started, I remember in the beginning there was an error, a debugging error, and actually I also had the helper functions that are very nice, which you the console log. How can you develop without the console log? And you give the carousel and then you console log. So I think I have it in .NET Watch. No, it's not .NET. I'm sorry, because I just want to show what this does, because it's, at least for me, it's very helpful to inspect.
Well, what are you looking for?
I just want to show this line of code.
Okay, so yeah, the
console.
yeah.
It's a helper. It's a helper function Orchard comes with. Sorry. During live stream, everything takes twice the time. So
That's that's usually the thing with demos.
Yeah. So again, let's just show. So we are basically this is a way of declaring variables in Liquid template, and we are assigning this carousel to the content with the given alias, which is main carousel that we give when we create it. And if I want to see on the console log of the browser what this carousel object holds, and we have to use this helper function, and we can check it out, like what it has. So then we can see that the alias, and here's a bag part that we gave, and these are the two content items that it has, and all this is the creative text that I gave, and also the slide itself, which has an image and the path which leads to image. It's very deep and nested, but I mean, as to describe this object, but it's all the relevant information that you might need. So, and to remove that debugging line, I just commented for the time being because I don't think we're gonna need it for this stream. So, but usually I just comment and then if I need it again.
By the way, did you install some kind of Visual Studio Code extension to have liquid support here, or was that just automatic somehow?
No, I installed it. I installed it from the Shopify, basically.
Okay, so Shopify has a liquid VS Code extension.
Yes, the Shopify, yes. There are also other ones, but I personally, I prefer to stick with the original creators, although sometimes they lack some features. But we live in a world where the supply chain attacks happen, so better stick with the original developers. So
yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah, I mean, and so we have here two slides because we are basically I don't know if we can see, but basically the relative path to the slides is essentially carousel, and then we go content, and then back part, and then here we have the two content items, and we are assigning basically here we have the two slides into this object. So that's why you have to drill down to where you are storing the content. And to create a loop, well, this is one way. And if you can also like do with this extension, you can just say for. No, okay, so it's a for loop. Sorry, this is not the right syntax. This is the right syntax, and then it gives it automatically for you. This is an extra thing. It happened also earlier. So yeah, and that's why we have two items, because actually we have two slides in there, but the text it's not correct. So we have to provide. So we have to provide the correct text, and the text is item dot. And if we check what the text is, well, it's display text. So if we say here item dot display text, hopefully you're gonna see first and second. First, I think was first image, second image, instead of relaxing accommodation. And it's very low refreshing.
By the way, when I'm working on similar tasks, well, I usually write Razor, and there you can also use the debugger to inspect what's in the shapes, what's in the view model to begin with. But the console log, so dumping the model to the console, is also a very useful tool.
Yeah. Yes, both ways works. I think probably the best is to use a debugger because you get also a lot more detailed information about it. But the important thing is that, yes, we get the text here, second image, and the first should be first image, which is very good, but not very descriptive, if we can say. But as we can see, we gave both of them a different image, which in this it's not updating. And the reason why is that you can see that here the image is static one. And this is what I was doing with that debug line, which was causing for the site to crash. So I was thinking to, just like we did assign slides, we also assign a file path, you can say.
But I think it should be in there. So you edit the image in a media picker field. So that should be in the item.
Yeah. So yeah, true. So what we can say is it. I think it is at item dot. Okay, so this is crossing. Yeah. So again, back to is this carousel, and then I want to get the path. I don't remember.
Probably, by the way, logging just the item to the console will be easier because that's what you actually need.
True. That's correct, actually. I have to go this.
Yeah, and by the way, there's a passes property in media field, so that's what we'll need to access. But I'm not from the top of my head. I don't know the syntax for accessing the first element in an array in Liquid. So I hope you do. Or we need to Google it.
Yes, it should be just, I think.
Yeah,
first.
it's in paths.
Yeah. So it's slide and then path and first. So I know to assign by path and say item dot
Actually, you can use first. So that should work in Liquid. Just item dot path is just dot first.
item dot path dot first. Yeah, yeah, that was actually my plan, but I don't think it's path. So. Yeah, okay, well, it's path. Sorry. So here, then we can say, instead of this, we can say just file path. And this is asset URL, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point it out. Hisham pointed it out in the chat as well. Everybody is very clever.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And I magically made it the VS Code disappear. So let's do another refresh. And of course, it doesn't work. So it doesn't find a media. So now this is.
Because probably the file path is
the file path.
actually.
Yeah. So now this is a $1 million question, like who can find the path?
I'm not sure, but I would first try to debug it. Is well, actually, in the console, could you show it again? one of the items. Oh, it's slide.path.
Yes. So you here. Done.
Well, what's happening now?
No, not any media, not found. Bring this. So back to our code. Is it?
Item. Oh, image actually. Slide.image.
So it's slide.image.path. Yes. Okay. So thank you.
This is probably more like the €2 question.
€2. Yeah, not a million.
If we fix it, if we can't fix it until the end of the stream, which is like in 3 minutes officially, then we'll put it up as the $1 million question.
Well, we are not getting any, at least not media not found, but we don't see the media.
Oh, probably worth checking out the code, no? I mean the HTML output.
The output, you mean, yeah? Okay, so then we have to. Inside here,
Yeah.
see any image
Yeah, the
loading.
Hisham also told in the chat to log the variable. So that yeah, but first I think it would be useful to actually find that element because the variables should be pretty much reflected there. And
Yeah.
then well, that's not that. There's a lot of stuff in this.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this template.
They probably can just search for /media now.
/media. Yes, here it is. Okay, so slider 2. Well, this looks correct. Somehow, how is it doing this sometimes?
Probably that debug output by the messes with the layout now.
The debugger?
The debug output, so that console log.
You mean,
because it has a bunch of stuff there.
So let's remove it and see.
So hopefully this will fix it.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. And here we have both the images, which is amazing.
And that's probably a good checkpoint to call it a day as well, or call it a stream.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to say one final thing. Sorry, before you wrap it up. I will finish, this. I hope, and then I will publish the GitHub account, the repository in the comments of this video stream when it is already done. So yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. And also to summarize what we have seen today, some auto setup that we announced that we'll talk about with some custom recipe. That's quite cool as well. It will be very useful to see your code. I mean, for the audience following back at home. Although we do have examples of all of this, of course, in the documentation and otherwise in the publicly available code, but seeing this would be great as well. Then we have built a carousel, which was a great hands-on example, by the way, so thank you. That's carousels are usual stuff. And we didn't touch on placement and razor, so that's something for another day.
Yeah, that's good. We have like content more to come, but the plan for the next, I mean, like this pair programming is hopefully something to add more to it, and I think next time we will have Drew, right? Hopefully.
That's right. Next week we'll continue, and we'll have Drew Brasher on board with a content warning module. So something completely different. We will put theme development a little bit aside, and create a module with perhaps shortcodes, perhaps also some more involved client side as well. Well, we'll see from Drew. And actually, next week, since it's Whit Monday, which is a holiday in a big part of Europe, we'll do it on Tuesday. I will let everybody know about it.
Perfect.
And thank you again, Ermir. This was very nice. The site looks nice now. So yeah. I hope next week you will open your hotel.
Yes, thank you very much. So done.
All right. Thank you, Rajdan. And thank you, everyone, watching the stream. So have a nice remaining day. Bye, everyone.